Everyone seems to think there's something that must be in the water, and that's why there's so many people like Mike Rosehart, Kellen, Dylan, my entire team here living in the mansion, myself. They think that there must be something really special about London, Ontario. I actually kind of disagree. You know, today my level of success would have never happened without me attending those first networking groups. What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the power behind meetup groups, both attending them and actually starting meetup groups. And what inspired this entire subject matter, I guess, is all the comments I get these days in 2020 about how amazing the ecosystem we have here in London, Ontario is. Everyone seems to think there's something that must be in the water, and that's why there's so many people like Mike Rosehart, Kellen, Dylan, my entire team here living in the mansion, myself. They think that there must be something really special about London, Ontario. I actually kind of disagree. And I don't think there's anything in the water. I don't think we've got a special amount of sunlight or any sort of mineral imbalances or anything like that. I think what it actually is at one point in time, a few of us decided to make the leap of faith, plant our freak flags, and start some meetup groups. And now, going back in time to 2016, there was essentially no meetup groups here in London, Ontario for young real estate investors. There was definitely no meetup groups around the financial independence, retiring early entire movement either. Things like London on Fire, OREC, the Social Lab, those were all, they weren't even a twinkle in my eye at that point in time. Realistically, in 2016, I knew that I was about to quit my day job. And I realized that a lot of my friends and family, one, they did not get it. They still thought it was risky me buying real estate, even though real estate was what was going to allow me to buy my personal freedom. And I'm so glad that I was able to go against the grain at that point in my life to really focus on real estate investing and building out my portfolio. But I knew what had allowed me to get to that point in my life wasn't going to allow me to take the next steps in my journey. And I knew that I was going to need to find like-minded individuals. For a long time, I've been a part of these communities online, and while they were very gratifying and they definitely helped me, and you know, they introduced me to some Roger Bannisters. And if you guys don't know who Roger Bannister is, he was the first person to run a 4-minute mile. Up until he did it, most people thought it was just physically impossible for a human to do that. But once he broke that, all of a sudden a bunch of humans started breaking it afterwards. And the whole concept is, once you know something can be done, it becomes so much more achievable for yourself or anyone else in the world to achieve it. And I think that's what's really special here in London, Ontario, is a few of us were willing to put ourselves out there. A few of us were willing to take the risks or expose ourselves and try and inspire others, as well as inspire ourselves by telling our stories. So back in 2016, it all started with me leaving a post on Bigger Pockets forum, just kind of reaching out, seeing if there was anyone else in London, Ontario that wanted to meet up to talk about real estate investing. That's when I originally got in contact with Dylan. That's originally how I met Jeff Weibel as well, was a mutual friend introduced us because of that blog or that forum post on Bigger Pockets. Now, we didn't immediately, get together and decide we need to start a meetup group. What it was a few of those one-on-one meetings really showed me that there were people out there like me living in my local area, but just none of us knew how to really connect or interact, or we weren't even positive that there were a lot of us out there that were focused on the same things. So at one point in time, about 4 or 5 months into meeting this kind of cool group of individuals that were all focused on various aspects of the FIRE movement or real estate investing or a little bit of both, we decided to start London on Fire. Now, this was in the basement of a bar where we semi-knew the owner and just asked permission to host our little meetup group. We got a meetup.com membership, posted it there, started a Facebook group, crossed our fingers and hoped that there was going to be more than just the 4 founding members show up. Turns out, if I remember correctly, I think we had like 12, maybe 13 individuals show up for that meeting. A lot of them were like 1 degree of separation from ourselves, so we'd encourage some friends and just people we knew to come out, even if they weren't 100% bought into the FIRE movement or real estate investing. But it was the start. And that starting point is so critical. If you want to really build a community, if you want to find your tribe, you need to take the first step more often than not, because if there's not already something in your city, you need to be the one to start that change. So The first meetup group, only like 12 or 13 people showed up. The second one, I think maybe 20. And the group kept evolving and growing to the point right before COVID-19, it wasn't unusual for us to have 70, 100 members show up to this meetup group. And now again, that meetup group is just part of the puzzle piece for myself and the personal satisfaction and growth that I've got from meetup groups. I also started other endeavors like the Social Lab, which was focused on people that wanted to create, social media content here in London, Ontario. Again, we knew of a few people that had popped off and kind of had some success, whether, on the international stage or the local stage with social media, but it really didn't feel like there was a cohesive group or forum for people that were interested in this media medium to get together and really discuss their interests, best practices, and how to grow their personal brand or their business brand. And while London on Fire flourished and grew into this amazing meetup group, the Social Lab kind of fizzled out. It turned out it was difficult trying to really bring that group together, and really, I think it was just a little bit before its time, just straight up. I think we were a little bit too innovative with that group. But again, the connections I was able to make through that, some of those connections lasted a lifetime, or I suspect will last a lifetime. Hey YouTube, have you guys been enjoying the sponsorship splash page we have at the end of every YouTube video now? Do you guys like it? Are you a business owner or maybe just a real estate influencer or investor and you'd like more exposure to potentially my YouTube audience? Well, now you can help support my YouTube channel as well as grow your personal brand or your business brand by sponsoring my splash page. It's really not that expensive, and if you want to find out more information, it'll be all below in the video description down. So just go grab it, reach out to my team, and let's chat. I think it was just a little bit before its time, just straight up. I think we were a little bit too innovative with that group. But again, the connections I was able to make through that, some of those connections lasted a lifetime, or I suspect will last a lifetime. And as I continued to just experience more and more different networking events, and it wasn't just starting networking events, it was also going out and attending other people's networking events, I really grew my network. All of a sudden, I started surrounding myself with just a lot of like-minded individuals. They were driven, they were focused, they loved fire or real estate investing or being an entrepreneur or a business owner, and it was so refreshing to have people who wanted to talk about the things I want to talk about. No longer were we talking about sports or the weather or what so-and-so did last night because they were so drunk. All of a sudden, all that stuff was left in my past, and now I was talking about ideas, businesses, taking action, having massive impact. And I literally feel like I'm a different person than I was 4 years ago. And I'm so happy for that. And part of the reason I think that I was able to become that person is as you make new friends and new social groups, and especially as those social groups are focused on different things that you're truly passionate about, it keeps giving you more and more permission to raise your freak flag higher, to really double down on yourself, double down on your vision, and double down on trying to have impact. And there's no way I'd be here today had it not all started with those local meetup groups. So I just want to encourage everyone that currently, is sitting at home wishing that they had, if you wish that you had the ecosystem I have, and if it's not already in your city, it's on you. You need to go start it. And understand, maybe your first meetup group, maybe it's just going to be you and your BFF that show up. But you need consistent action. The reason London on Fire grew and flourished was we met up every single month until COVID-19. We never missed a single month. That's what allowed us to grow and build that momentum. It was years in the making. Far too often people talk about overnight successes, but what they fail to realize is that overnight success is almost always standing on the shoulders of failure after failure after failure. And you continue to innovate and implement as you get that feedback loop. So the mansion where I live right now with my team of wholesalers, with Peter, who's the Hungarian experiment, who's my social media VP, again, this was built upon the corpse, essentially, of the Social Lab. It was all the lessons we learned through that failure that inspired us to take the next step. I realized that, hey, I need to invest more resources. I need to double down on this idea, and I need to be willing to lose more money than I was willing to lose on the Social Lab at the start. And sometimes you need that runway. Now, not every meetup group has to cost you money. You can do a lot of what I'm talking about for absolutely free. But with time, I think that you're going to see the benefits, and you're going to decide to keep doubling down and investing more and more of your personal resources. Because, today, my level of success would have never happened without me attending those first networking groups, without me starting my own networking groups. Where this entire model of problems or profits came from, where this motto came from, was just me being the nexus, the hub at a lot of different networking events, and people constantly coming to me with their struggles, with their challenges, with their obstacles. And in those, I would often recognize opportunities. And that's really what got us thinking about, hey, every problem is actually a profit center. It's an opportunity, and it's simply up to us to recognize that and embrace it. A lot of that comes down to an abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset. Realistically, if your friend group, if your peer group is just the people you happen to randomly grow up with, or the people that randomly went to the same school with you, whether we're talking about elementary, high school, or post-secondary, it doesn't matter. Like, those were just a random collection of individuals you happen to bump into. When you start being selective and really choosing your friend group, when you surround yourself with like-minded individuals that are really going to compel you and give you permission to really be yourself, that's when everything changes in your life. And I want that change for every single person watching this video, so I encourage you, go check out, different Facebook groups, meetup groups, Reddit groups, and find your tribe. And if there's not a local group, build it. Plant that freak flag and consistently execute on it, even if you just commit to it for a year. Once a month for a year, meet up. At the start, it might just be a trickle, but by the end, you'll have a real tribe, you'll have a real community. And that's one of the most powerful things you can have in life. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and let me know in the comment section down below. Have you started a tribe? Have you planted your freak flag? Are the people in your life really supporting you and on a similar wavelength? Or are they crabs in the bucket trying to hold you, pull you back, and keep you at the level you're currently at? In my opinion, life is very simple. You're either growing or dying. And I know which side of that equation I always want to be on. And if the people that aren't most often in my life are on the same side of the equation as me, I need to understand that I'm purposely taking on a lot of unnecessary, unneeded friction in my personal life. And friction will always slow you down. It's up to you guys. What do you want?